Welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger. 103.3 FM on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Netherton Show. Pleased to be joined now by the number one overall draft pick from this past MLB draft. Had one of the all-time great collegiate seasons at LSU, led the Tigers to a national championship. Paul Skenes, who's also going to be the featured guest speaker at the kickoff dinner for the Independence Bowl. That is Tuesday. Paul, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm very good, very good. Number one, looking forward to chatting with you. I'll actually be handling your MC duties for Tuesday night. And the good news is I won't keep you long. I'm a big proponent of getting out of there in a timely fashion. So we will move quickly. But let's start with kind of where you're at right now. Right, we saw you. They kind of moved you through a couple of minor league levels right after you got drafted, and I'm curious now where are you at right now? What's your off season look like, and then what are the plans for you moving forward?
Yeah, I'm enjoying the off season a little bit right now. Back in Baton Rouge, and I'm going to be here for most of the off season. Really just enjoy it. It's great to be able to work out at the LSU facilities, and it has everything I need, and my friends, and they're like family now. They're all here, so it's great to be back.
You and Hayden Travinsky, who's from here, we had him on the show about a month or two ago. He was up here doing a charity event. Y'all had a really nice facial hair off, if you will. Tell me about the mustache. What made you decide that the mustache was where you wanted to go?
Yeah, so if you ask Hayden, it was because of him.
Okay,
but,
I like
really,
it. I like
it. It was just out of necessity. I ran out of razors one weekend. We were on the road, and so I just let it grow for a few days and decided to keep the hair above my lip. And then it turned into kind of a competition between me and Hayden, and we obviously both still have it. So I'll let you guys decide which one was better.
Well, I mean, the difference is he's put his on a shirt. Right? Like he sells those shirts. And I told him, I said, look, the problem you run into there when you start selling that is now you have to keep that hair. Right? You have to keep that facial hair if you're going to be putting it on shirts and selling it. So you got to make a choice, at least for you, I'm guessing. If you wanted to shave it off and go with something else or grow out a full beard or whatever, you got your choice there.
Yeah, that's nice. He's prepared to do that. He's really good at marketing. We've talked about that. So I have one of his shirts and work out in it sometimes. But we'll see, going forward.
Yeah. So what's the plan moving forward? Obviously working out in the offseason in Baton Rouge. What have the Pirates communicated to you in terms of where you might start next year? Has that even been established? Kind of a track for how you want to move up, whatever. Have you gone over that plan with you yet?
Not really. And that's kind of a theme in pro ball, I think, across a lot of organizations. Which is, to be honest, a little bit frustrating for the player, but it makes sense from the club standpoint, just because nobody really knows what's going to happen. So, plan is to go to big league spring training and then go from there. Hopefully, pitch my way into a spot and be ready to compete there. But we'll see. When you were at Air Force, obviously playing two ways. The story about you coming in and giving up the homer to Cruz and all that when y'all played at LSU. When you left Air Force and then moved to LSU, was there an aha moment for you, a time or maybe something either specific or just kind of in general where you went, okay, this could be special, not only for the team, but also for yourself, because the growth that you had from what you were doing at Air Force to what you did last year was amazing. Was there a moment for you where it kind of clicked and you thought, okay, this could be a great season? Maybe it was probably over the course of a couple of weeks when we got actually into the season. But I think more so it was just, we saw what the lineup was doing the first few weeks of the season, and we kind of figured that we didn't necessarily need me, to take at bats one time a week. So, obviously the pitching side kind of speaks for itself, but there wasn't a necessity there for me to hit or catch anymore. So it was a smart decision. I wouldn't say it was an easy decision just because I'd been doing it my whole life, but very straightforward, and we kind of knew what we needed to do. because it meant that I was going to stay healthy and that, our lineup was going to continue to produce at the level that they were producing, that we would have a really good chance to win a national championship.
Did you tell the Pirates you wanted to be Ohtani?
They asked.
Did they really?
And
that's awesome.
They did. And I pretty much told them that my body has felt the best it ever has when I was just pitching. Doing it at that level is an even greater responsibility, and it's even more taxing on the body in professional baseball compared to college baseball.
Sure.
So, it was just pitching, when I got to pro ball.
What was the conversation like about when to go ahead and shut it down? Because there was a lot of talk and speculation that you might get a call up and you might actually end up joining the big league team at some point, but you'd also thrown 120 plus innings in college and had, you'd pitched as long as anyone can pitch in college baseball in a single season because you got all the way to the end. What were those conversations like on how much you wanted to pitch out of college and in the pros and in the minors before you shut it down and started getting ready for this coming season?
It was actually really straightforward. They had their plan for me. The way I understand it, it was almost two plans, like whether I could throw or whether I could not throw. And if I couldn't throw anymore in pro ball, that I would just shut down, which is, an easy thing to plan out. But I felt that I could throw some more. And so my goal and the Pirates' goals lined up really well. It was just to get used to professional baseball on the 5-day and the 6-day rotation, and kind of what those demands are on my body. So when it came time to shut down, that was really just because I had gotten to my goals for the season, or for the professional season, I guess, of just working on some pitch design and facing professional hitters, and then working out the routine a little bit.
Paul Skenes joining us, number 1 overall draft pick of the Pittsburgh Pirates, who is, of course, an LSU legend now. Who's your sensei, right? Who's the guy that's in your ear most? Is it someone from the Pirates now? Is it, someone from LSU? Who's the guy that's kind of in your ear that you work with the most where, hey, something doesn't feel right, I need to tweak something, I go to this person to get it worked out?
Yeah, man, there are a few,
okay,
for sure. If there was one guy, it would be Wes Johnson. But the beautiful part for me is that I've had a really good circle of people around me since I was in high school. From my coaches back there to my coaches at Air Force, and then obviously, Wes and Coach Johnson at LSU. That there are a lot of people that can help me get centered again. So it's really nice to have those guys, as a resource and people that I'm going to hang on to for a really long time.
Absolutely. I'm curious, the move from Air Force to LSU, what was the most eye-opening part of it, other than I guess you didn't have to wake up at a certain time every morning if you didn't want to? But kind of what was the transition like to go from military life and military, that regimented military life to a little more of a laid back, still on a team, you're still going to go work out occasionally at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever, lift, all that, but to not have that sort of other side of things where you can concentrate on sports in your studies, not sports your studies, and also preparing for a life in the military?
Yeah, it was tough, to be honest. And that was something that I actually talked to Wes about a lot while I was at LSU, while I was making that transition. And we pretty much found that, in the military and at the Air Force Academy, you have externally imposed discipline and externally imposed standards. And it's just not the same way at LSU. The baseball standards are very high, from the coaches, also from the fans, which you don't really get a feel for until you get to the season.
Mm-hmm.
But we really had to find a way to make it, to transition it from externally imposed standards and discipline to, internally. Lighting that fire internally. So that was something that I had to figure out a little bit more when I got to LSU. It was just a weird transition.
Right.
It was difficult in ways, but more so it was just different. Something that I had to get a feel for throughout the fall and over winter break and into the spring. It was just very, very different.
speaking of very different, you go from a place where, they break you down to make you part of a unit to have you in there. Yeah, I like to say when you're at Air Force, you fly under the radar literally and figuratively. While you're there, everyone kind of knew about you, had heard about you. You had some notoriety with the baseball team. Then you come to LSU, and suddenly you're in the midst of the most storied program, and everyone knows your name, and you're in the limelight, and all of that goes with social media. You're not as much on social media. Like, what's that been like? Kind of, in some ways, losing some of your privacy because of that transition from you're part of a unit to now you are a guy who shines individually.
It's been different and a little bit odd, I would say. It's just, to me, it feels like last year we were just 35 dudes or 40 dudes or however many guys were on the team. We're all just trying to live our life and go out there and win. And then, we go out to dinner and people want to take pictures with us, which is extremely humbling. That we're out there doing something that we love to do, and 10,000 people come to watch us play every single game while we're at home. It's surreal, and the stuff on social media and whatnot, that's cool. Different more than anything, but the stuff that happens, in person, where we're going out there to compete and play the game that we love, that we've been playing since we were, 3 years old, 4 years old, and people come to watch us play just, because they love to watch us go out there and have fun. That was probably the most humbling part of it. Huge blessing.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious, what's kind of the protocol for you when you're out in public and someone wants to approach you or say hi or whatever, you're maybe having dinner, whatever, like kind of what do you feel like is sort of the appropriate way for someone to approach a person like that? That's always been fascinating to me because, I might see someone I know out in public or someone that has some notoriety. I don't want to disturb them, but sure, I'd like a picture or maybe just, a fist bump or whatever. What do you kind of want in terms of that social interaction with your fans?
It was weird to have that transition of, going out to dinner and just being another guy, and then going out to dinner. And the way I see it, I'm another guy, but people want to, come up and talk to me and whatnot. But so at this point, it's kind of just like, if I don't feel like talking to people or interacting with people, then I don't go out to dinner.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's really humbling, really flattering. But people have a right to, go up and talk to you and give you a fist bump and whatnot. I would say do it respectfully, but
yeah. Well, to me, the whole thing is, if you're going to disturb someone, do it quickly. Right. Let them know, hey, thanks for the great season. Like Rogers talked to you right before. He thanks you for the great season. He's a big LSU fan, all of that. Do it. To me, that's always been the thing, is kind of do it in a respectful manner. Don't monopolize the time. If a person, you in this case, say, hey, can I just, maybe after I get done eating or whatever, respect that, right? Just be respectful. That's always been my thing when it comes to those types of people.
Absolutely. And I think, going back to what I said earlier, it's cool that I'm able to go out there and that I have the opportunity to go out there with my best friends and just play baseball. And the fact that it's kind of touching other people and affecting other people in a positive way because of what we're doing on the field. That's a blessing. And that's something that I never realized when I got to LSU, but it's cool to, have the opportunity to affect people in a positive way just because I'm doing something that I love.
Did Rogers, my producer, and I were talking. He was a running back in high school. Three TDs for Polk High. That's a reference you won't get. It's a Married with Children reference, a little before your time. But it would have been in the NFL. Didn't blew out the knee, all of that. But we talked about superstitions and kind of the repetition of what you go through. Did you have any sort of superstitions? I've got to put, this sleeve on at this time, or I've got to do, did you have any of those sort of superstitions when you were getting ready to go start?
I would say it was more of routine-based than superstitions. I always ate Jason's Deli chicken Alfredo before the game, and you could call that a superstition, I would say, but I found that it just helped me get ready to play.
Hey, it's good fuel.
Better than anything else I'd ever tried. So, I mean, call it what you will.
Sure. Did you have to put your uniform on the same way every time? Were you know, that's the stuff that fascinates me with athletes, is just that sort of repetitive nature of what you do and feeling like something's off if you don't have the correct repetition of your pregame ritual.
Yeah, I mean, I put my uniform on the same way every time, but I didn't find any significance in it.
Okay.
Really.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, the routine thing, I wouldn't say it was so much of a superstition.
You got your remarks ready to go for Tuesday?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Good. For those that don't know, Paul Skenes will be here for the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl kickoff dinner coming up on Tuesday night. He's going to have some prepared remarks, and then he and I will sit down. We'll have a little Q&A. If folks want to get questions for Paul, you can send them in on the Independence Bowl Facebook page, and they will have a list of some Q&A audience questions as well. So, Paul, we're looking forward to it, man. Going to have a lot of fun on Tuesday. Congratulations on an amazing season, one of the greatest single seasons we've seen from a collegiate pitcher ever. Best of luck moving forward, and we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday night.
Me too. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Paul Skenes, #1 draft pick for the Pittsburgh Pirates.